Every once in a while, I try to jump into MMOs that I don't normally play just to see how they're doing. For example, I log into Black Desert about once a year, realize I have no clue what the f is going on anymore, and log right out. At least I tried, right? One of the other MMOs I jump into at least once a year is Final Fantasy XIV. And I know what you're gonna say because it's already been said many times on my recent live streams. But Hive, I thought you hated Final Fantasy XIV. Damn it, guys. I didn't say I hated it, I said I didn't like it. There's a difference. Not liking you just means I probably wouldn't hang out with you if I had the choice. Hating you means I go out of my way to break into your house and litter your floor with Legos while you slept. See, I've always wanted to like Final Fantasy XIV, and on paper, I should. I'm really into PvE content, specifically healing people in dungeons and raids. I like pretty spell effects, having a large world to explore, and just having lots of PvE content to do. 14 fits that bill really well, hence why I always try to come back to see if maybe this time I'll finally start to get into it and enjoy the game. But as people say, the real game begins at endgame. I hear that a lot about 14. And I think maybe that's been my problem. I've never enjoyed the leveling process in 14 enough to stick it out. I've always burnt out before hitting max level and getting to endgame. So this time around, I was determined to see it through to the bitter end. See, recently, I decided to change the way I do content on this channel. Instead of doing a first impressions every week that really only hit on the surface level of each game, I'm cutting down to a video every other week and going deeper into each game. Insert sexual pun here. So why not start this new type of content with the game I've always wanted to like and have been told I would like if I just stick it out to the end? It makes sense in my head at least. It helped that I was already level 64, so I wouldn't have to spend too much time leveling. I could just knock it out and get to the good stuff. And I'll admit it, in these past 2 weeks, 14 is finally starting to grow on me. Granted, it's still not my favorite, but that may change the further I get along. Oh yeah, this video is going to be a two-parter because apparently that's just becoming a thing around here. Actually, it's because it took me longer to level up and finish the main story than I thought, but whatever. I seriously need more gaming time in my day than like 2 hours. If only I could quit that pesky day job. And that pesky family. There we go. As of writing this, I only just hit level 70, and there is way more to endgame in 14 than can be seen in just a few days. So this video will cover my thoughts from 64 to 70, and the next video will cover endgame. Cool? Cool! Starting off, the questing. I didn't bother doing any quest other than the main story, and I pumped through this as quickly as I could, though I did watch my fair bit of the story, which probably slowed me down. Oh well. Sadly, I'm gonna have to echo my past self here. I found questing to be the least enjoyable part of my playtime. Final Fantasy XIV loves its fetch quests, and they usually involve running you around these large maps for just one quest. I mean, at least this guy isn't having me deliver stuff to the people right next to him. He's needing me to run halfway across the world, which makes a lot more sense. But I don't have to like it! Unlocking flying in these zones would have helped, but that also requires running all over the map and doing more quests, and I don't know, I just couldn't wrap my brain around that. I'll just do it later. But this really was the majority of the main story quests. There were a few kill quests here and there, and of course the solo instance battles, but they were few and far in between. I mostly found myself to be an overglorified courier. That is until I'd come across a mandatory dungeon or trial. Now, while I may not have had the best time questing, dungeons and trials made up for it. I really do love the group content in this game, especially healing as an astrologian. I've said it before and I'll say it again, I like card games. This gives me something a little extra to do when a normal battle may get a bit boring. I like to pretend I'm Seto Kaiba. Yeah, I'm the villain, I'm cool with that. Trials are also something I enjoy because it's pretty much just a raid boss without all the raid crap that I hate. Then again, I haven't done many raids in 14, so maybe I'm way off base on that. I've also found the boss design in 14 to be really nice. Each boss is really well designed and looks cool, and I don't know, this game's just pretty. During my leveling, I would do dungeon runs using the duty roulette to help gain some extra XP. I found this to be the most enjoyable part of my playtime, unless I was running the leveling duty and happened to get stuck in an extremely low-level dungeon. When this happens, you are level synced, and are stripped of any skills you wouldn't have had at that level. Cool for playing with low-level friends, bad if you really don't like low-level dungeon runs. These runs reminded me of why I disliked 14 for so long. I was just so bored. I had 1 or 2 heal spells, 1 DPS skill, just bleh. I miss my cards. For this reason, I ended up avoiding these even if they were good experience. So by combining some dungeon roulette with the main story quest, I found that to be enough to get me to level 70. That said, it wasn't terribly quick. It wasn't slow, mind you, but with my limited amount of playtime, it wasn't the fastest. I do know there are better ways to level up, but since so much of the endgame content requires you to finish the main story, I figured I'd just push through and level at the same time. Since hitting 70, I've taken a brief look at the endgame content, though I'm gonna need to do some gear grinding before I can do most of it. Endgame dungeons, raids, Eureka, Heaven on High, though that one just came out a few days ago. I'll be covering it all, or at least what I can, in the next video. I might even make a visit to the Golden Saucer, although I have a bit of a gambling problem, so that could prove to be a bad idea. And I'm broke. Well, that was fun. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. I'll have another video in 2 weeks on Final Fantasy XIV's in-game. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button for future videos. I've also put another video for you to watch right up here. If you want, you can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, or Twitch for my weekly live streams. And if you really want to help the channel, you can donate to me on Patreon like these other amazing people.